Hello, my soul family. Welcome to my spiritual counseling TV network. My name is Christy Ramirez, and I'm your soul coach. And I'm also a marriage and family therapist. And in today's couples therapy talk show, I want to bring in these different topics about what couples go through and about marital therapy as a whole, because I know that everybody wants the relationship of their dreams. We all seek a long-term relationship. We all want to be happy, right? But many people don't know what's the right route for them or what to do when things get rough in the actual relationship. And that's where I come in, and that's where this talk show comes in, because we're going to bring a lot of research findings and we're going to answer your questions. So in today's first episode ever here at the Spiritual Counseling TV network of the Couples Therapy Talk Show, the theme that I came up with is marital therapy for you? So I want to talk about the couples who aren't already in a relationship, okay? Because I know that there's a lot of people in relationships, obviously right now, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they might be happy. So this is where this question relates, because is marital therapy for you? Is it actually going to bring you positive outcomes and improve the quality of your relationship, or is it going to make things worse? Now, I know that's where people get stuck, and that's where actually some people are even afraid to seek couples counseling. And I can tell you, with my years of experience and through observance of couples coming to me for therapy, or even just close peers of mine who were also couples therapists, there's a lot of resistance in the first place to even want to seek couples therapy, because there's a sort of shame and stigma with this term of couples therapy. And with good reason, right? Because everybody wants to give the illusion that they are in the perfect relationship. And that's where external judgment gets in the way, and caring too much about what society might think, right? And everybody wants to give the illusion to even their close friends, circle in the community, peers at work, that they're in a harmonious, happy marriage. And the thing about marriage, we're talking about marriage here, we're not talking about relationships, even though these topics can most definitely be applied to relationships. But when you're already in a marriage, it's a little bit more difficult to get out, right? Because there's already been these commitments set in motion. There's been papers and vows said and signed, and a lot of them have even been vowed before a church. So of course there's going to be a lot of resistance to want to step out of a relationship that you realize is perhaps not making you happy. And I feel you. And that's why I talk a lot about premarital coaching, because I've seen this all too often, and it really breaks my heart to have to see couples go through this. And I myself come from a divorced family, but some marriages are done harmoniously, and some divorces are actually for the best, okay? But we're not going to jump into that topic today. I want to bring in this topic of marital therapy, okay? Because, for example, okay, let's, bring in this example, okay? My parents were divorced, right? And they divorced, and they never sought marital therapy. Now, who knows if it would have benefited them in that time that they were in, or it would have made things worse, because they're still in good terms with each other. They're still friends. And obviously, because there was kids involved, I have a sister, so it was me and my sister in the middle of this, that came in the middle of this relationship. And this is also what brings a lot of people to this question: is marital therapy for us? Because sometimes there's kids involved, and we don't want our kids to think that something's wrong. We don't want to put them in that scenario. And a lot of times in marital therapy, sometimes kids do have to join, which is why the marital therapy degree often is also complemented with family therapy. So I'm also a family therapist, and I've dealt with a lot of families coming to me, and it actually is even more difficult than just talking to two couples, because guess what? If the couple already has kids, it's not a couple relationship anymore. It's a family. So there's other factors that can get involved. So is marital therapy for you? First of all, it depends if there's kids involved or not. Second of all, there's this other concept of, are you willing to do what it takes to save the marriage? So this is about being honest with oneself if this love is true, And this is where the spiritual love component comes in, which is what I talk about in the Love Show, which is a free show provided by my Spiritual Counseling TV network that I premiere on my YouTube channel. And this is going to help to educate you on what the spiritual love is about and what it is that we are seeking. Because everybody wants a harmonious relationship. But let me tell you that a superficial relationship is not going to cut it. No more, especially in these times that we're in. So is marital therapy for you? First of all, you have to ask yourself this question: is this love really spiritually based? Is this love true? Is this worth saving? Because a lot of the times, the issues that bring people to marital therapy vary, right? They're on the whole different kind of spectrums. There's from abuse, which is like the heavy spectrum, to like just minor communication issues. So that also has to be taken into consideration. Is marital therapy for you? Because if it's an abusive situation, if it's a domestic violence situation, I've counseled people like that. I've worked in homes where it was all women victims of domestic violence. And I've seen the hurt and turmoil that it has created, especially for the dynamic of that relationship. Because if that is the case, I would say marital therapy is not for you. Because there is no sense in saving a relationship that has already been damaged to that extreme. And I know that's a personal opinion among therapists in the community, because there's other therapists that will tell you that it can be saved. But truth be told, that's more for the money, because a relationship that's gotten to that point of violence and abuse and of degradation, it's not worth saving. Because that's when my New You Tell Me Soul Coaching program comes into play. The first topic of it all is choose yourself first. And you must be willing to choose your integrity and your self-worth and value first before a relationship that's not even treating you right in the first place, not seeing your value. So if that is the case, don't even bother wasting money on marital therapy, because it's not going to benefit your soul growth. And that's what I'm about. I'm also about soul growth. And I'm about saving relationships that are truly worth saving. And those that are spiritually based but might have maybe fallen off the track. And, you know, if there's a spiritual component involved, there's very minimal reasons why to even seek marital therapy. But of course, I don't want to bring in that stigma, because even a relationship that might be spiritually based, maybe they're unawakened individuals, they could still have a reason for seeking marital therapy. So let's put a reason why you should seek marital therapy. Let's say maybe you're having trouble coping with the life transitions. That's a very pliable reason for seeking marital therapy, because if, let's say, your children are in the school years, so this is a transition that a life transition phase that you're transitioning into. From when they were born, that's a new life transition, right? Children being born. That can definitely bring in a rockiness to the relationship. Maybe not having schedules set accordingly, not making time for the relationship. Maybe you both lost each other, lost touch with each other, but it doesn't mean that you don't love each other. And it doesn't mean that there was any infidelity involved or unloyalty. It maybe was just about bringing in back that spark of passion alive. That's a very good reason for seeking marital therapy. Because maybe all you need is a few tips here and there, life soul coaching tips to help you with these transitions in life as a couple and as a family. Now, this brings me to another reason where marital therapy would most likely not even be also pliable in my eyes, would be the fact of infidelity. Because if that's been the case as well, that is abusive in a way. That is very self-destructive to the other person's self-esteem and self-worth and value, right? Because a relationship, a true spiritually based relationship, is based on loyalty and fidelity. So if there has been any of that involved in a relationship, then I believe marital therapy is not really even useful or effective, because self-esteem has been damaged. So I would actually recommend individual therapy, especially for the victim involved, for the one who was the victim of the other person, bringing in a third party into the situation and forming a triangle circulation, a love triangle into the equation. Because marital therapy is for only those who are willing to put in the work And I know there's this concept of forgiveness towards that other person, right? But if I'm going to be honest with you, which this is what this show is about, this is about bringing in truths. And I know a lot of truths can hurt sometimes, because I've been encountered with couples coming to me where there was fidelity issues involved, and the damage is done. I like to see this situation as a blank sheet of paper that is perfectly straight, but then you come and crumble it up, and then you try to flatten it out again. It's not going to be the same, and that's how trust is. And not only that, but that's how also the respect in the relationship has been treated like. Okay, it's been crumbled, and now you're trying to flatten it out. It's not going to be flat out again. It's not going to be back into this innocent like it was in the beginning. And there's also the reason why someone strays off the relationship, right? If you're in a relationship that you feel is worth saving and that you really love the partner, there wouldn't be a need to even want to seek outside the relationship in the first place. So, and of course, that's another topic that I will leave for another episode, because I know a lot of people are interested in this, and there's a lot of that going on in today's world, especially with all the different medias available, and even the lack of morality among the generation. That's another topic, but I know that, there's a lot of issues that can come into that. It could be even our own personal issues that can deal with that. It can be a self-esteem issues. It can even be a sexual issue, to be honest. So that's why I don't want to go into that topic for today. But briefly, you already know that there's something else of a reasoning behind that action which motivated that partner to seek outside the relationship. Okay, there was something off balance already. So there's sometimes where marital therapy is gonna be useful for this reason, to be able to understand why that took place. Not to try to save the relationship, but to want to discover why it took place, because this is going to help you to heal your own wounds, not taking it personal, because it's never personal. I always say that to my clients. It's never personal, because the other person, whether it's the male or the female, take it to heart and think it has something to do with their self-value, their worth. It's not. It's the other person's internal issues, and even it could be traumas, childhood wounds, past relationship failures, a whole bunch of different issues and insecurities. So if that's the case, like a fidelity issue, and you're wondering, is marital therapy for us? Only for the reason of understanding why that happened, so that it doesn't affect and you bring in that baggage to the next spiritually based relationship. Because there's only one kind of spiritually based relationship in our life. Okay, so that's something else I'm going to talk about. But yes, for that reason, yes. But if you're trying to save that relationship and remedy it and try to make it innocent like it was from day one, it's not going to work. And I'm going to give you today research-based statistics that's going to prove you that that answer is correct. So that's what I want to start with. Those are my answers for those questions. And if it's minor issues like communication, transitioning from different life phases, maybe you want to learn how to spark the relationship, maybe you want to bring in new ways of thinking, maybe you're having trouble in the intimate department, those are good reasons to seek marital therapy. Yes, because you want to educate yourself on how to bring in more quality into the marriage. So those are definite reasons for seeking couples therapy. You can book them with me, definitely. You can even watch the show, because the show is going to be very educative. Okay, so that's definitely reasons why you should seek marital therapy. Okay, let's go deeper now. I have a book here that's basically my marital clinic book, and I came across this statistic coming back to this point of couples that seek marriage therapy and actually don't work out. Marital therapy appears to be a reliable vehicle towards divorce. How pessimistic does that sound, right? But let me tell you why that actually is true. What effects in general does marital therapy have? Think about it. There was a longitudinal research done here that found a strong positive correlation, about 50%, between having been in marital therapy and actually getting divorced. Is our result representative? The best study that they had available on what therapy is out there, it was a non-university based therapy done by Kucherly in 1980. He conducted a 5-year follow-up of 326 clients, treated by a wide variety of different marital therapy techniques in the United States. The conclusion was the separation divorce rate was 43.6% after those 5 years. So not only did they waste money on marital therapy, but they also wasted their precious years. And I'm sure it was one of the above reasons where I told you not to seek marital therapy. These rates are considerably higher than base rates would lead one to predict. So marital therapy again appears to be a reliable vehicle towards divorce. Now to summarize, let's take a look at the relapse rates as well. The current best estimate is that for about 35% of couples, marital therapy is effective in terms of clinically significant immediate changes. But that after a year, about 30 to 50% of the lucky couples who made the initial gains actually relapsed. So how does this explain this? Think of those couples, for example, that are so adamant in wanting to make the relationship work, which is usually an egoic thing. It's the ego standing in the way, and control issues, even possessiveness, you not wanting that other partner to be with someone else, or you not wanting to let go of the illusion that this is not the relationship for you, right? And we all go through those kind of relationships that are called what's called karmic relationships. They teach us a lesson only to make us better. But if we are resistant on learning the lessons, then guess what? We're gonna stay in this vicious cycle of unhappiness and not getting our true needs, emotional needs fulfilled, and maybe even physical needs, because of course the sexual intimacy will suffer as a result. And so why did they relapse? Is because maybe they were just in this false illusion. Maybe they did it for the kids, right? And they were wanting to make it work, but they were living in this delusion that it was gonna work. And so this is why it relapsed. So initially they weren't really lucky. They were just really wanting to believe that it was going to work. Okay, and of course it depends for the reasons that they came in therapy for the first place, right? But I believe that if it was any of the above mentioned reasons why I told you abuse, domestic violence, even emotional abuse, right? Putting the other person down, infidelity, then those reasons are not going to work. Because yes, you can forgive the partner, you forgive them so you can move on into a better reality, a new you, a new world, a new chapter. But you don't forgive them to allow them back into your life, because that actually is now compromising your self-worth, you see. So of course it's going to relapse, because eventually the person is going to come to their senses and realize, you know what, this person is really not treating me right. And let's say for fun that these two partners did completely turn around, kind of like an addict recovering 100% from their addictions. But there's always this possibility of relapse, right? No one wants to live with that what if they relapse, or what if, and they keep doubting if they might do it again, or that they might get treated wrong again, or they might get hurt again. These are going to bring health issues in oneself, and this is not a conducive relationship to spiritual growth, you see. So it's a very complicated question and a very individually based case-by-case scenario, but 80% of the time that would be my answer. And there was another study here that said, of the couples that make some initial gains in marital therapy, a sizable percentage of these couples, about 30 to 50%, relapsed within the next 2 years. Something like a second law of thermodynamics seems to function in marriage. That is, when marital distress exists, things usually deteriorate. Entropy increases, right? Instability, chaos is what entropy means. The therapeutic effects of the therapies that have been scientifically evaluated are generally weak. And so there's a very high relapse rate. So in this view then, we need to conclude that we have an intervention methodology that nets relatively small effects, and hence we have a huge relapse problem. So hypothetically, what if it was just the intervention that didn't work, right? Now let's blame the therapy. Let's say if that was the case. This is not due to the fact that marital therapy needs just a minor fix. Rather, we need a major change. And this is this huge transformation, 360-degree change that needs to occur if you truly want a marriage to work, if it brought you to marital therapy in the first place. And this is kind of like what my new UTM soul coaching program is for individuals, doing the individual work, because a lot of marital therapy issues actually are created by individual issues first, because now they're brought into the relationship, you see? So we need to make sure also that both parties, both couples are healed enough to be able to be in a healthy relationship in the first place, okay? And yes, if that is the case, that's a great reason to seek marital therapy, because it's definitely possible to save a relationship that's due mostly to individual issues. Now, if are already created negative repercussions, like now hurting the other person because of your individual issues, such as fidelity, which is a major thing that really hurts people, because that's one of the main fundamentals that brings two people together. It's this sense of oneness, needing to rely wholeheartedly on the other person like your best friend, right? So if you break that bond and that trust, then that marriage is basically now spiraling down to waste. That's how I see the metaphor, because my view of spiritual love is something very deep that doesn't bring into those even thinkings or those kind of thoughts, you see? Okay, so now let's give science a little bit of a chance. Let's say that there is a marital therapy technique that will help these couples not relapse.